Hey guys, Sandy here and welcome back to my channel. Today I am playing with some scrapping reflection stencils. We're going to do a little ink blending and we're going to do a little bit of stencil printing. Now I have this photo, it's not the best photo, but there is snow on the ground, and once we landed at the airport and started driving to the retreat house for our scrapbooking retreat, I just could not believe that there was snow on the ground in March. So let's see what I can do. I really have to say, I have been loving the Close to My Heart inks lately. They have just been, the colors have been great, and I've just been enjoying using them with my blender brushes from Pink and Maine. They have a big kind of pad, ink pad itself is large, so it's easy for me to use the blender brushes on them for the small brushes and also this larger size. Now I'm taking the lighter color and I'm just kind of swirling it around over top of my stencil, and I'm basically starting where the stencil has more stencil than not. So I'm starting in between the circles. That probably would have been easier to say if I just would have said I'm starting in between the circles. Now, while I'm doing this, what this is going to do is give me these darker edges around my circles by doing it, because that's where I'm rubbing the ink into the edge of the stencil. Now this is the, oh goodness, I forgot what I named this sucker, but it's the Big Circle stencil. I think that might be even what it's called. Yikes. Okay, I'll have the true link and name down below. I just don't remember. So I do the same thing with the darker ink, and I'm using the same blender brush. I have not really cleaned off the blender brush whatsoever, and that's just because this is my blue blender brush. So any blue ink is going to be used with this brush. Now I do keep this microfiber towel handy. I did get it from Brutus Monroe. I'll have a link down below for that as well. Boy, this video is already starting to sound like a commercial, but you don't need to buy that one. If you have a microfiber towel at home, I think that these are great. It's a great tool for a stencil. Seriously, you guys, it just really is. So I'm using it twofold. I'm using it, one, to kind of hold on to the stencil while I'm working with it, and then the second is I'm just going to wipe off the stencil. Now I am pretty lazy with my stencils, and I'm just going to be, honest about that. I really don't clean them off a whole heck of a lot, except if there's glazes on them, like glitter glaze or velveteen glaze or something like that, then I'm gonna go rinse them off in the sink. But usually if it's ink, I just wipe it off with my microfiber towel and we go with it. So now I'm pulling out mandala number 2, and I'm trying to figure out how I want it to be on the page. Like, I don't have, the photo's not the best quality. It's a blurry, driving down the road in the car photo, so I really feel like I need to make my layout look great. So I take my stencil and I've put it inside of this IKEA box that I have that's a perfect fit for the stencils. And I place the stencil on top of a sheet of white cardstock. Now I take a couple of sprays. I have a Distress spray, I have a Brutus Monroe Surface spray, and I also have a Ranger mica spray, which the designer name is failing me right now. I'm not sure which one it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and spray that over top of the stencil. And I'm more concerned about making sure that I'm spraying the stencil than what the design is poking through. So there you go. You see that I have sprayed that down. Now I'm taking my circle layout that I stenciled and I'm thinking, how do I want this to go on here? I don't want a straight, like, big circle. I want to have it offset. So I just take my paper down and I press it down over top of the stencil here, and now we have made a print with our stencil. Now I have a whole bunch of fun goodness still on that side over here, so I take yet another sheet of cardstock, press it down. Now I'm making sure to not really move that cardstock around, and I pull a print again, and then that gives me that little piece right there. So what I'll do with that is either cut that out for a layout or build some vertical borders down that where the circle kind of cuts off. But I love how this turns out. I'm feeling like I need to kind of unstarken the white. Now, that might be a word that I made up, and if you guys have watched my videos for any length of time, you kind of know I make up stuff as I go along. So, unstarken, that's the word we're going with, and that's what happened here. So I just had ink left over in my blending brush, and the only thing I did was run it over the page just to get a light little blue color where all the white is. And I'm really, really liking all of these blues together. I'm definitely going monochromatic on this one. I don't really get an opportunity to scrapbook a lot of snow photos. And not that these photos are just like full of snow, but I just wanted to embrace it. I actually had to go digging through my punches for my snowflake punches that I know I own because where we live now, we don't get snow, and I don't like the cold. So, yeah. So I had to go digging for them. Now I am using the December Skies paper pad from Tonic or Nuvo. I don't know which way it's branded. It's either Tonic or Nuvo. But it's got that deep sapphire paper and also kind of like this icy bluish silver paper. Now, originally I thought I was going to layer some more paper on top of that and put my journaling on top of this piece of cardstock here. But I go a different way. I definitely go a different way. So here I have my 2 snowflake punches that I own, and also kind of this little starburst type punch that I like to pair with snowflakes. I also like pairing it with hearts. I just think that this little starburst punch is a good little punch, and I used to use it all the time. And I haven't in a while, so I pulled it out just to see what kind of magic we could make happen here. So I'm taking this scrap piece of blue paper from where I had my photo, and I'm just punching out a couple snowflakes. I'm going to get those off to the side, and then just also a little tip. I am using a 6x6 paper pad. My photo is a 4x6 photo. I went ahead and you guys saw me cut off 1/4 of an inch off the photo. Now, there was nothing on that photo that 1/4 of an inch cutting off would ruin, so I was totally okay with that. If this is some sort of fancy portrait or something magical and you don't want to do that, then either double up on your 6x6 papers or don't use 6x6 papers to match your photos. I just think it's something that is easy. So I went ahead and pulled some vellum from my stash. Now this is a printed vellum. It is an older vellum. And it does give me a little bit of trouble with my punch. It seems to do it the second time. I probably should have paid attention to what the heck I was doing, because for some reason it just grabbed it, and it didn't grab it every single time. But, you know, we rip out that vellum, my snowflakes are still good, and, you know, we are making snowflake clusters here, people. So I have the large snowflake in the vellum. I have the small snowflake in that sapphire blue specialty paper. And then I just went ahead and grabbed some white cardstock. This is cheap white cardstock, nothing fancy, and punched out my fun little starburst things. Now, I had this Get Outside banner sitting on my desk because I was playing with the Chamel Never Grow Up collection, and it came with that, and I didn't use it, so it's sitting right here on my desk. I didn't use it on this layout either. I couldn't find a good place for it, and you'll see me struggle with that for a little bit. I did pull out this paper bag that has this heart on it. I am totally going to ignore the heart though, because most of the bag is actually going to get covered up by my photos. So I'm just figuring out where I want the bag to be, because I'm thinking, you know what, I don't want to cover up this beautiful blue specialty paper. I'm going to have some hidden journaling. And I do. I have hidden journaling, you guys, and a good amount of it too. So I now am layering up my little snowflake pieces to figure out where I want them to actually be and what I want them to look like. So I'm just using my ATG to go ahead and do that. And then I'll flip it over, and on the other side, I will use some foam squares. So I'm just going to put the foam squares on the pieces where you can't see through it. So if it's just a vellum layer, the foam squares aren't going down. But if there's paper there too that'll block and you won't be able to see the foam squares, that's where they're going to go. So I pop it up on there just to give it a little bit of dimension, because like I said, this is a very monochromatic layout and I want to add interest and kind of texture wherever I can. So amazingly, I have all the letters for the word snow with this Thickers alphabet set, and this is from Sparkle City. I don't know why I'm messing around with the W, but I was. Whatever, Sandy. So I just figuring out where I want the word snow to go, what level of overlap I'm okay with the S going over the photo and the W going off of the cardstock here. And then I decide that I'm going to tuck my large vellum snowflake underneath of the word snow, but I'm still going to do the same kind of building up thing that I did on the first little snowflake cluster, and that is just kind of putting that white burst and the little dark blue snowflake down. I'm still trying to use that Get Outside banner because it was kind of tongue-in-cheek, because I really did not want to get outside. Like I said, I am not a fan of the cold. I was super excited to move to California to not have to deal with snow and blizzards and all that fun, because it's not fun. It's just not fun. I decided that I needed a little bit more of a snowflake vibe throughout this layout. So I went ahead and built another little snowflake cluster, and I'm going to put it up here so that it's hanging off slightly off the page. And I did that because my stencil is going off the page, so I didn't want everything on the page, completely on the page except for the stencil. I wanted it to feel cohesive, and I think that having multiple elements going off the page definitely does that. And here I am still trying to get on that Get Outside banner, and I am trying my little hardest, trying to layer it, I'm trying to tuck it under snowflake. What are those little snowflake things called? Are they snowflake petals? Snowflake arms? What the heck are they called? I don't know. If anybody knows what the true name of a snowflake arm is, drop it down below, because I'd really love to know what it is. And honestly, let's just say I'm too lazy to Google it. So I grabbed these older October afternoon letter stickers, and I am just spelling out "there is." So that is going to be the title, "There is snow." And I think that's what came out of my mouth while we were driving along. And I think I was like, "There is snow. There is snow on the ground." And I think I said it just like that. Kari and Christina will have to let me know if that's the right inflection or not, because we were all driving together. Now, I was not impressed with the snow on the ground, but it is, it was Ohio in March. And I know that on the easterly side of the United States, that can happen because, Maryland girl here, totally get the blizzards in March. Horse poopy, and that's what it is, guys. It is horse poopy. I'm not a fan. So now I'm taking that white cardstock that I used to punch out my little bursts, and I am trimming it down and fitting it in to my pocket right here. So I get it down to a good size, and then I'm like, I need something on the top of this pocket. Like I need something on the top of the pocket so that you pull it out. While I'm thinking about that, I grab my ink blending tool here, my ink blending brush, and it obviously still has blue ink on it, so I just go around the edges just because I want to unstarken the white. See? Unstarken. We're totally claiming that as a word. Unstarken. And if it's a legitimate word, well, I guess I'm not as original as I thought I was then, huh? So I am going to, instead of putting like a pull tab, and I have a pull tab punch, and I was thinking about it in the back of my mind while I was creating this layout, I just decided to go with more snowflakes because, like I said, I don't get the opportunity to use a whole heck of a lot of snowflakes in my scrapbooking, and I don't have a problem using snowflakes in my Christmas project or Christmas pages or anything like that, but I don't really just have the opportunity to make a snow page. So we are completely embracing it. Now, I told you guys that was a lot of journaling. So I went ahead and wrote all the journaling down, put it on my little tag right here, and tucked it in the pocket. And then I'm like, you know what? I need a little bit more excitement over here by the title. It's a little too plain. So I grab a burst and a snowflake, and I just layer them up together. And I'm going to put them here next to the title. And you guys, after I do that, I also have these little Heidi Swap flower gems. These are older than dirt, and I just put those as well. So there it is, you guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this stencil printing video. There will be all kinds of links down below for you, and I will see you again real soon for another video.